The story opens not with drama or scandal, but with a calm, reflective moment that slowly reshapes an entire marriage. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, long seen as a symbol of enduring love, find themselves at an emotional crossroads during what appears to be an ordinary morning on set. Beneath studio lights and practiced smiles, something deeper surfaces. This is not a story about separation or loss, but about growth, identity, and redefining love. At its core, it explores how even the strongest relationships must evolve to remain healthy, and how love can deepen when both partners are allowed to stand fully as themselves rather than disappear into one another. The weight of shared years and unspoken words. This paragraph highlights how long-term relationships are built more on consistency than grand gestures. Kelly and Mark's bond comes from years of shared routines, parenting, humor, and simply showing up for each other every day. That depth is what makes the moment so heavy when Mark begins to speak. His calm isn't casual. It signals intention and emotional honesty. In long marriages, comfort can sometimes hide unspoken truths, not because of secrecy, but because life gets busy and familiar. This moment reflects how deeply rooted love can still hold tension and vulnerability at the same time. It shows that honesty doesn't have to come from conflict or anger. Instead, it can come from respect and trust built over time. The paragraph reminds us that even strong relationships need moments of pause, where buried feelings surface and redefine how two people truly see each other. Mark's wish. Love without losing the self. This section explains the heart of Mark's message. His wish is not about pulling away or creating emotional distance, but about protecting Kelly's sense of self. He recognizes how deeply she gives to everyone around her and understands that constant giving can quietly erase personal identity. By asking her to live a life that doesn't revolve entirely around him, he is actually expressing care, not detachment. This challenges the common belief that love must involve constant sacrifice. Mark's wish reframes love as something that should support growth instead of limiting it. He wants their relationship to feel open and expansive, not dependent or consuming. The paragraph humanizes his perspective by showing that real love sometimes means encouraging independence even when it feels uncomfortable, because preserving individuality strengthens the bond rather than threatening it. Kelly's inner conflict and emotional shattering. This paragraph focuses on Kelly's emotional response and why Mark's words feel so unsettling to her. She has lived by the belief that love equals sacrifice, giving, and constant togetherness. When that belief is challenged, it feels as though the foundation of her understanding of love is cracking. Her reaction reflects deeply ingrained social and generational expectations, especially for women who are often taught to put others first. Taking space feels wrong, even selfish, despite being healthy. This emotional shattering isn't about rejection or loss, it's about being asked to unlearn patterns that once felt like proof of devotion. The pain comes from realizing that her identity has been shaped around serving others. This moment humanizes how difficult growth can be when it requires redefining long-held beliefs about love and self-worth. The quiet aftermath and self-reflection. Here, the focus shifts to stillness and introspection. Alone in her dressing room, Kelly is no longer a host, a partner, or a mother. She is simply herself. Without distractions, she confronts parts of her identity she hasn't examined in years. This quiet space becomes transformative because it allows honesty without performance. She reflects on how years of responsibility left little room to ask who she was outside of those roles. The central question, who am I when I'm not giving, feels simple but carries emotional weight. This paragraph emphasizes that growth often starts internally, not through action, but through awareness. Before change can happen, there must be acceptance of discomfort. It shows how personal transformation often begins in silence when we finally allow ourselves to listen inward instead of responding outward. Small steps toward rediscovering identity. This section illustrates how change doesn't need to be dramatic to be meaningful. Kelly begins with small, intentional acts that reconnect her to herself. Simple things like walking alone or writing privately become powerful because they are chosen for her, not for others. At first, these actions feel wrong, almost like betrayal, which reveals how deeply her sense of worth was tied to being needed. Guilt follows her progress, reminding her how unfamiliar self-care can feel. Mark's role is important here, not as a guide, but as a steady presence who respects her space. His support shows that love can exist without control or direction. This paragraph humanizes the slow, uneven process of rediscovering identity and reinforces that personal growth doesn't require abandoning relationships, only redefining balance within them. Fear, reassurance, and a new understanding of need. This paragraph explores one of Kelly's deepest fears, that independence might make her unnecessary. This fear resonates widely, especially in long-term relationships where being needed feels tied to being loved. Mark's response gently dismantles that belief. He reassures her that love isn't rooted in obligation or sacrifice, but in authentic connection. He needs her for who she is, not for what she provides. This moment reshapes the meaning of need from dependence to choice. It shows that true love doesn't require someone to shrink or exhaust themselves to remain important. Instead, it thrives when both partners are whole individuals who willingly choose each other. The paragraph humanizes how reassurance, when offered with sincerity, can rewrite long-standing emotional fears and create a healthier foundation for connection. How space deepened their connection. This section explains the unexpected outcome of giving each other space. Rather than creating distance, it brings renewed closeness. Without constant obligation, their conversations become more thoughtful and their moments together more intentional. They stop interacting as roles, spouse, co-parent, partner, and begin seeing each other as individuals again. This shift removes unspoken expectations and replaces them with curiosity and appreciation. The paragraph emphasizes that space doesn't weaken love, it often reveals its true strength. By allowing independence, they rediscover emotional presence and genuine connection. Their bond becomes less about routine and more about choice. This phase highlights how relationships can grow deeper when pressure is removed, reminding us that love flourishes best when it is freely given, not automatically assumed. Love as a choice, not a habit. The final paragraph brings the journey to a thoughtful conclusion. Love, once driven by routine and momentum, becomes intentional again for Kelly and Mark. They no longer stay together simply because they always have, but because they actively choose each other. This shift transforms their marriage into something dynamic rather than fixed. What once felt like emotional upheaval becomes guidance rather than damage. The wish that challenged Kelly now serves as a compass pointing toward balance and self-awareness. This ending reinforces the idea that true partnership allows room for growth and change without fear. Love, at its strongest, trusts individuality and embraces evolution. By choosing themselves, Kelly and Mark strengthen their bond, proving that enduring love is not about holding on tightly, but about walking forward together with intention.